What's up, Youth Culture? Welcome back to another broadcast, another Youth Culture broadcast. We're so excited that you're here. Today is going to be a really good broadcast. I'm so excited to talk about it. But wherever you've tuned in from, we're so happy that you're here. It doesn't matter where you're from, you can be a part of Youth Culture right where you're at. You don't have to be in LA. You don't have to be in Seattle. You can be right where you're at. And we've got students from all over the world. So if you want to be a part of Youth Culture, you can go ahead and DM us on Instagram. It's at Church Home Youth. And behind those DMs is the Youth Culture team. So you're going to find myself, Shaddai, and Justin. And those conversations stay there. So if you need somebody to talk to, if you need somebody to hang out with, if you need somebody to pray for you, please message us. We would love nothing more than to hang out with you and get to know you better. But again, today is going to be really good. I'm so excited. I already know this is going to be one of my favorite broadcasts because we have your very own Youth Culture leaders, and they're going to introduce themselves, but I'll introduce them as well. We'll just get double names. But we've got Tori, Victoria, and Peyton, and they have been leading in Youth Culture for a little bit. And before we go further, I'm just going to go ahead and have them introduce themselves. Will you guys maybe just say your name and tell us a little bit about who you are?
I'm Tori. I've been leading YC for a very long time. I grew up kind of in the Kirkland area and been going to church since I was 7, so that's been fun.
Yeah. Insane. Yeah, Tori's been here for a while, and he's also a machine. If you need something to be done, he will do it. Like, you're a different breed, Tori, so yeah, we love you, Tori.
Well, I'm Victoria, so it's pretty easy to remember. This is my husband, and I was actually born in Georgia, and I moved here probably about 10 years ago, so I'm kind of like half from Georgia, half here.
That's insane.
And yeah.
I did not know that you were not Seattle local.
Got some Southern in me.
Love it. I love it. Just that Southern charm.
So whenever I see someone that's like from Atlanta or something, I'm like, oh my God.
You're my people. You're my people.
Yes. I'm like, you know good cooking.
So true. I don't want to kill salad.
Oh my God.
All right, and we've got...
I'm Peyton. I am from Linwood, Washington. I've been leading, I think since my 3rd year of YC,
Wow.
but I've been a part of the church since, I think 5th grade.
5th grade?
So,
Yeah, I've known...
7 years?
I've known Peyton since she was a fetus, just a little baby. Just kidding. I didn't really know her when she was a baby, but in 5th grade. So it's been an honor to know you for so long, Peyton. Wait, and how long have you guys been leading?
So we kind of both, I mean, he's been leading longer than I have because he's been here for longer, but I started leading when I was in middle school. I helped out with church kids and toddlers, and then high school helped out with middle school, and then so on, so.
For me, how it started was when I was in City Kids. My mom forced me to do toddlers because she was running toddlers. And then when I got to middle school, I did City Kids. When I got to high school, I did middle school. Now I'm out of high school, so I'm doing high school.
Yeah. You've been here for a long time. All of you have been here for a minute. I love this. I'm excited to just even dive into a few questions that we have for you. I know students are watching this, and I know even in the Seattle location, Kirkland's hyped to see you guys on the screen. So I know while they're watching this, they're just going crazy. But the first question I'd love to ask is, what student do you want to shout out right now, and why? Maybe you could choose one student. I know that's hard, but Peyton, we'll start off with you.
Yeah.
A student you want to shout out.
A student I think I want to shout out, one of my girls, her name's Sabine. She's amazing. I love her so much. But even over quarantine and over when we were doing Zooms, without a doubt, I knew she'd be there every week. Which was such a blessing because, even I was like, I don't really want to do Zoom today. That's not what I'm trying to do today. But without a doubt, every week she would show up and she'd be there to hang out with us, which was so good to have that consistency. And she's just a rock star. I love her so much.
Sabine, shout out to you.
Yes.
You're amazing. We all love Sabine.
So, yes.
Yeah, Victoria.
Out of all the girls, no one take it personally. I would say I'm gonna shout out Leah Kraut. She's just such a well-rounded person. Honestly, she looks for lonely people and is never afraid to just walk up and meet people and like make them feel welcome and like included in our group. And then she also finds all the best stuff at every thrift store she goes to, which is like so annoying, but it also so amazing.
So true. Leah, you're an icon.
She's so awesome.
Yeah, Tori.
I'm just actually gonna call out all my boys and tell them to get off their phones. And then I'm gonna call out Owen and just say like he's been going through a lot lately. I'm not gonna go into details, but just him being able to come into church every week and have a really good smile and just kind of count it all joy and, you know, not show and just still be there for people.
It's really awesome. No, yeah, shout out to Owen. Your family's amazing. And
Yeah.
I think that's really cool too, like just shouting out specific students, because I know even off the top of my head, like every student is going through something different.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the beauty of youth culture, is seeing that it's not always happy, you know, high notes, always like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have the best time. There are definitely moments where we go through something super hard, and I think that's why it's so important in youth culture to have really good people around you, which are your youth at home leaders. So shout out to you guys for really just crushing it always and just loving students really well. The next question I have is, what would you say the best thing about leading in youth culture is? And maybe let's just throw in the worst thing too, like the best thing and the worst thing.
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question.
Or the hardest thing about leading.
I could go first. I was just talking to her last night about it, and I was like, YC does this really good thing of making me still feel like a kid at heart, but also makes me feel really old. So I guess that's the old part, the worst part is like, because I've
So
been doing it
true.
for so long, like
Yes.
some of my high school boys have graduated now, and I'm like, I'm 21, calm down. Like, why? I'm not that old, but I feel old now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I feel like you do kind of have like an old soul to you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, Tori's just 21. Like, wow.
Yeah,
That's real though.
that is. Oh my gosh, I'm last. I can't.
I feel like the best thing for me is like being able to like see their goals, because I started leading when they're in 6th grade and now they're in 8th grade, which is like so crazy to me. I'm the same way. I'm like, this makes me feel old and I'm still in high school. Like this is like not okay. But seeing them like grow in a community and grow as like a little like family has been like so rewarding. Like seeing them grow closer together, but also like closer to God through that. And that's like my favorite part, just like seeing them like become together, little family. But then I feel like the hardest part is balancing being in high school and leading at the same time.
Yeah.
Cause like there's been seasons where like I don't do a group for myself because I'm like, I need to focus on this.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's the hardest part, but it's so rewarding. It's like so worth it.
Yeah, you're really good at that too, trying to find that balance of, I'm a high school student because you're going into your senior year. So it's like, can I even lead? If you are a high school student watching this, you absolutely can. And it doesn't matter like if you have a title or if you don't, you can lead the people around you and your peers. And I think that balance is really important. And so, yeah, I would love to even just come back and figure out like, how do you balance that out as a high school student? But Victoria, best thing, hardest thing, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I think my favorite thing about YC and like leading YC is seeing different personalities connect.
Yeah.
Like I'm obsessed with like connecting people with people, but I just love how like you'll have like someone that's super quirky and then another girl that's like super sporty, and somehow they're like the bestest friends in
Yeah.
YC. And so I just love being able to have that space where everyone can feel like included and connect, you know? But I think also the worst part of leading NYC is the awkward in between of that all. Yeah, the awkward in between of that.
Yes.
Trying to figure out, oh, none of them know each other. How are we gonna get everybody
yes.
to connect? So that's probably, yeah.
Yeah, embracing those awkward moments, because you know when you're in like a group or youth at home and everyone's like not talking and you have to hold it together, that could be hard. You're like, so love you guys. Like, glad you're here.
Especially for somebody who doesn't even talk that much like me. It's like, ooh, okay, we're just gonna sit in silence. Sweet, I'll join. It's okay.
And I feel like you kind of have to like embrace that silence. Like, all right, and not in like a weird way, but like, guys, it's okay if we sit in silence. Maybe you got to think about the question. I don't know, but yeah, those moments are definitely awkward. And I love that you said just different personalities. I think what's really cool about youth culture is it's not school, so you don't get the cliquey, you don't, oh, there's the popular kids in the room and there's the, you know, really academic, nerdy, whatever you want to call it, kids in the other side of the room. It's definitely not the case. It's everybody's here to be encouraged, but also to encourage those around them. And so I think if you're watching this, I would love to encourage you and say, just go for it. Reach out, DM us, maybe try and find a youth at home. DM any of these three, like Peyton, Victoria Schomler, Tori Schomler. Hopefully we can put their Instagram handles, but they're great people to even just talk to and say, how can I connect with somebody that has a different personality than me? I think that's a great thing and a great question to ask. And going back to you, Peyton, you said like as a high school student, sometimes it's hard. How do you balance being a leader and being a high schooler?
Yeah, I feel like a big thing that is good for me is having like a structure and saying like, okay, Wednesdays are my high school group. Like that's what's gonna happen, but then also saying, but when am I gonna like be able to focus on my girls and like pour into them as well?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's also so key to do the balance, because if I'm just pouring into my middle school girls, like when am I getting poured into?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And so by having like the balance of structure and I'm not the most organized person, but I try. I do not, you got me on the Google Calendar, I'm on there, and just like putting everything in, that way I make sure I'm not just pouring or I'm not just getting filled into, and doing a good balance of both. And having like honestly good high school leaders will be like, hey, like, or even if I'm really into my middle school, they'll be like, hey, like come to high school, like stuff like that. Because sometimes I'll be like, oh no, I'm doing good. But then having the balance of getting to have both sides of it and making sure I have both sides.
Yeah. Really, really good. I love that. And, you know, I hope you can take away just stuff that Peyton said, like, oh, Google Calendar, like Google
It is
Calendar.
my best friend.
It's so good. Yeah, just little things where maybe I actually need to write stuff down. Maybe I need to open up my notes. How can I divvy up and make a line between leader and student? And so I think what you said is just so relatable for so many people, and not just high schoolers. And Tori and Victoria, you're a married couple. That's, you know, you guys have led separately, like as individuals, and now you're leading as a couple. How has that been?
I think I've learned how to, especially like being married, how to like connect more with my boys, because it was more like surface level, you know, like we hung out, we played spike ball, we played Smash, and that was it. Like we never really got to know each other, but like lately it's been more like, hey, how you doing? Like let's actually like talk, and it's been nice.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like having an idea of a start and end time, because like, you know, you go from high school and then you go out of high school and it just seems like your hangouts have no end time. And so you have this oblivious amount of time, but like, it's not like making your time effective is not any less, you know? So like we have like Wednesdays and we don't plan anything for that. And then any other days that come up with that, we have a very strict like start and end time. So I think that's kind of been our saving grace.
I love that. Yeah, kind of just being like, all right, here's our schedule. And I think what's really good about even all three of you is if you need time, you always are really good at texting, like, hey, I'm gonna take Sunday off, or I'm not gonna meet with my youth at home this week. I think that's really healthy to kind of figure out what do you need as a leader and really as an individual and a person and a married couple and a high schooler. So I think, yeah, there's so much to be said even in that. But one last question before we wrap it up is, if you could say something to a young person who doesn't know Jesus or struggling in their relationship, what would you say to them? So if you could say something to a young person who doesn't know Jesus, what would you say to them? Yeah.
Do you want to go?
I mean, I can go. It's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think for me, I have like 3 little like tips. Like my first one is like, count it all joy. And then my second one is, it's all right to be mad at God. It's all right to ask questions, because that means like he's actually there, like he'll answer you. And then the last one's like, you actually can't do it. Like you can't count it all joy. Like you can't be perfect. Like you need God, you need community to be around you to help you with that.
Wow.
And it's all right that you can't do it.
So good. Yeah, that's so much truth in that.
I think for me I think it took me a while to realize my relationship with Jesus. And so like, if I had just known that he was like my best friend from the beginning, like we have like all of our different like friendships and we kind of like put that on Jesus, rather than just realizing, no, he's the best friend that you could not talk to in a while and he'll still want to talk to you, you know, and like he's never gonna leave you. And I just kind of wish I had known that from the beginning. And you know, I was like with my counselor, shout out to counselors over COVID, but you know, like figuring out like friendships, like your best friends aren't from like those one-time amazing hangouts. Like they're from over time, you know, spending time with them, making memories with them. And I think that that's like something I've learned to appreciate with Jesus, that I don't just need a one-time, oh my gosh, he's amazing, but I need like okay, you're still there, like you're still here with me, you know? Like I think that's something I wish I had known from the beginning.
Wow. Yeah, that Jesus is going to be with us in the long haul. I think that's something that we can continue to say over and over in our heads. Yeah, that's really powerful.
Yeah, I feel like for someone that's new in their faith, is like getting that community and getting that support where like, hey, like I have questions and people that can answer them, but like getting that community, like church home or with youth, being able to be supported and like have someone walk beside you in your faith.
Yeah.
And then for someone who's struggling, I feel like a big thing that took me a long time to understand, like to figure out, is like my trust and faith in God is not reliant on my understanding of what he's doing.
Wow. Yeah.
So like even if I'm not understanding, like I'm like, this is not like, it's not good, so good right now, like what the heck?
Yeah.
But that's not, my faith and trust in God is not reliant on my understanding, but they're two separate things. And so even if I'm not understanding, I can still have the faith to be like, but he's a good God and it's gonna be good.
Wow.
Even without being like, I don't know why it's happening right now, but like having the faith to say, it'll work out. And also getting in the community of support and be like, hey, I'm struggling, and getting like prayer and like having someone walk beside you in that unknown.
Wow.
And so having the faith to be like, it will work out in the end.
So good. Yeah, because it's true that faith is believing and trusting in God. And I think that I'm so encouraged even just hearing Peyton, Tori, and Victoria talk about their faith, and in the midst of that, them leading all of you, you know, students, middle schoolers and high schoolers. And I think when it comes down to it, it is our relationship with Jesus that's gonna be the glue to everything. If you want to be a best friend, look at Jesus. If you want to be a good spouse in the future, look at Jesus. If you want to be a high schooler that can lead students and multitask and really balance both worlds, trust and look at Jesus. He is the ultimate example. And you know, there's a lot of verses in the Bible that we can go after, but you know, there's one that says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your paths straight. And I think that's a verse that we can continue to say no matter what season of life we're in, whether you're leading or you're a student or you're going to college or you're married or whatever it is. You have to know that in this very moment, you can actually trust Jesus. And so as we wrap up, we hope you feel so encouraged just hearing your leaders really talk from their own personal life and experiences. And in just a few moments, your Youth at Home leader is going to get up, they're going to pray for you, they're going to hang out with you. We've got some questions that we want to ask and hear from you as well. But Youth Culture, we love you so much. Again, please DM us. Go on the Church Home app if you need anything with Pastor Chat or just an encouraging video. We are here with you and for you. We love you so much, and we'll see you soon.